You walk on stage, you're about to do a presentation, and all of a sudden, your hands start getting clammy. You can feel the sweat at the back of your neck. You're super nervous. This happens to so many speakers, and one of the most common questions that I get asked about public speaking is, how do I stop being so nervous? My name is Diondra Filicetti. I am a 2-time TEDx speaker and professional trainer and facilitator. I'm also the author of Engagement Economics, and I help speakers and leaders with their communication and leadership skills. Now, when it comes to being nervous on stage, there are several things that I have done over the course of my speaking career that have helped me overcome nerves. When I first started speaking, maybe 12 to 15 years ago, I do remember feeling nervous all the time. My hands would get hot. Sometimes they would shake on stage. I was really embarrassed and really focused on whether or not my audience was seeing the shake in my hands. Sometimes I'd be pointing to something and my hand would be doing this. Over the course of my speaking career, there are several things that I've learned to implement. And I want to start with a mindset shift. So one of the biggest things when it comes to public speaking is shifting your mindset outside of yourself. A lot of the times when we have to do a presentation or we're doing any kind of public speaking, we're thinking that you have to perform well, right? You're in your head thinking, I have to perform well when I go on stage. I can't fumble over my words. I can't trip. I can't shake. I can't let my audience see any of these mistakes. That focus on your performance amplifies your nerves. Instead, what you want to do is shift your focus to your audience. Understanding that your audience is there for a reason. Your audience is there listening to you because they want to know the information that you have and what you're about to tell them. So when you focus on what your audience stands to gain from you, you can start to think about, how do I deliver my message in a way that's easy to understand for them? What is it that they need from me? How do I make this experience better for them? And shifting that focus from inside of yourself and your own individual performance to what the audience stands to gain takes that pressure off and just focuses on giving them a better experience. So the first thing is definitely shifting your mindset. The second thing is tricking your brain. A lot of the bodily responses, like your temperature rising, your hands shaking, although you're perceiving it to be nerves, if you tell your brain and try to trick your brain to say that this is actually just me being excited, those bodily signals are indistinguishable from excitement. Over time, you'll shift into excitement. At first, I know it's gonna feel like it's BS, like, okay, I know that I'm nervous. I'm definitely nervous, this is not excitement. But just tell yourself, I'm feeling this way because I'm excited. Over time, you'll lean more into the excitement rather than the nerves. I want you to remember that fear is a response to your perception of a situation. Why is it that two people can enter the exact same situation, presenting, and one person is not nervous at all while the other person is, even if they have equal experience? The difference is the perception of the experience. One person is perceiving the experience to be a normal or neutral experience, while the other is perceiving it to be some sort of a threat to their body, potential for embarrassment. That creates a fear response in you. So changing your perception of what the actual experience is also helpful in reducing your nerves. Now, I will say, all these strategies combined are what's going to be helpful for you as a speaker, because it's hard to turn it on one day and expect that all your nerves will go away. It just simply doesn't happen like that. This takes time to practice and implement. Some of the other things that you want to do to help with your nerves is also reducing distractions. Sometimes we'll have our laptops in front of us, we've got another screen, our phone might be sitting in front of us, and it might flash with a notification or a pop-up. All of a sudden, that steals your focus away from your audience. So you want to remove as many distractions as you can and only leave what's helpful to you. Another tip I have is practice. Practice is so underrated. And if you are truly nervous about your presentation, I recommend practicing to the point where you know your stuff forwards and backwards, so that the only thing that you have to manage when you go on stage is your nerves, and focusing more on your body language and how you're delivering as opposed to what you're delivering. When there are situations where I feel less than prepared, that's very distracting and it impacts my ability to deliver a presentation. So having your presentation rehearsed so well so that you can overcome moments where you feel like you blank out on something you'll be able to recall that information rather quickly. Another recommendation is actually the use of slides. This is one of the ways that I'm able to do longer presentations without having to memorize a really long script, because memorizing a really long script is difficult. There's a very different approach to memorizing a speech versus delivering a presentation. And so in my presentation slides, they act as cues to talk about a particular story or a particular example. So when I change my slide and all of a sudden I see a picture pop up of a rabbit, I'm going to tell you about the time that I saw a rabbit in my backyard, which somehow relates to whatever point I'm trying to make in the presentation. Or in the next slide, I'm showing statistics that are relevant to the presentation. Every slide that changes prompts my memory of what I wanted to talk about and the point I wanted to make with each slide. So using your slides as a memory cue is also helpful for distracting you from your own nerves. Another tip I have for you when it comes to delivering your message to your audience and ensuring that you don't appear to be nervous to your audience is to slow down. One of the most common signals of nerves is a very quick pace. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is in this presentation is X, Y, and Z. Not only does your body language show that you're nervous, your pace shows that you're nervous. The other thing that your pace does is it doesn't allow you any breathing room. So you're more likely to add filler words or fumble over your words when you're trying to speak at a really fast pace. Slowing down your speech gives you the space to avoid using filler words like you know, and like, and also gives your brain time to process what you're saying. So a lot of the times I'm able to avoid mistakes in speeches just because I've slowed down enough to avoid them. And another tip I have for you is to make jokes. A lot of the times when things go wrong, you can see speakers panic. So for instance, there's a tech issue with your presentation. All of a sudden, as a speaker, you go into panic mode, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You go silent and you disconnect with the audience. These are opportunities for connection, to make jokes about how technology never works when you need it to. This is something that I definitely lean into when things go wrong during a presentation. Something happens, or if I make a mistake, just make a joke out of it, and then your audience laughs along with you. They're still engaged, you still have their attention, and all of a sudden they feel more connected to you because they see that you're human and you make mistakes. And that's okay. We're just going to move on together. When you draw more attention to the mistakes you made by identifying it as a mistake or saying, oh, I'm so sorry for making that mistake, it actually disconnects you from your audience. It's uncomfortable for them to watch you make mistakes. So invite them into the experience by making that joke. Lastly, what I want to say is over time, the more repetition that you do when it comes to public speaking, the more presentations that you do, the less nervous that you'll be. The first time that you rode a bike, you were probably nervous, you were probably not good at it. But the 100th time, there were no nerves at all. The same is true with public speaking. The more you do, the less nervous you are. And so for me, because I've done it so much, the only time I get nervous now is when I feel unprepared. Really, my focus now is on preparation. But if you're just starting out your speaking career, just remember that you're not going to be good at something right away. You're not going to feel confident at it. It takes time to build the confidence. So get those reps in so that you can get to the 10th time, the 20th time, the 50th time that you present. Because when you have those reps in, it builds your confidence. So I wish you all the best. I hope that these tips are helpful in your speaking journey. If you have any other questions and like me to do another video, drop it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Oh boy, that was entirely unscripted.